Today is going to be special video. I'm going to talk to Dave Jones from EEVBlog, and we are going to discuss all the kind of different topics like young hardware design engineers, how to become better engineer. We are going to talk about YouTube, videos, and all the kind of different thing. Basically, I ask many questions what I always wanted to ask Dave. So I really hope you will find this video interesting and you will enjoy it. Here it is. So let's start with how to become a better engineer. So many people ask me and send me questions like, I'm at university and I would like to become motherboard designer, or I'm a junior engineer and I would like to learn more high-speed stuff. So what do you think, like, what would be your advice, what people should do to become better hardware design engineers?
First of all, you've got to decide what actual stuff really interests you, because if it doesn't interest you, you're not going to learn as well. So pick a subject that you're really interested in, not because you think that there's going to be a job in it, or there's going to be higher wages and stuff like some people can become really good engineers that way, but I find the majority of the really good engineers become good engineers because they're really interested in that particular subject. They love PCB layout, so they become great PCB layout design engineers, or they're great firmware programmers or something. They become great at that. And because if it's your hobby as well, if it's something that you do on your own time just for fun, then you're going to be better at that. So I would say first thing is to pick something that you enjoy doing, and then go ahead. Oh, and then I was going to say, fail at it because you learn seriously. I hope your project fails, because then you learn. If it works first go, okay, it's worked first go, great. Okay, you've learned some skills of how to do the circuit and layout and construction and testing and things like that. But if it doesn't work, then you've got to really, hopefully it'll be a really tricky fault. You've got to track it down, and that's when you really learn, when things fail.
I completely agree. Exactly.
You have exactly the same experience.
Yeah. Because once you have to track a problem, you have to learn everything about your circuit, how it works, all the protocols, all the voltages and everything, and then you can find out. But once it works just like this, then you think like, oh, I'm so good, and you move to something else.
That's why if you build a kit, back in my day, it was like you built kits, right? You'd buy kits from the local electronics store, and you build these kits, or you'd build them up yourself. You'd etch your own PCBs or whatever, but you build kits, and they almost always worked first go, and unless you got a component in backwards, or you got the wrong value or something, like, you goofed up something, you did something dumb like that. But usually if you didn't screw up like that, it just worked first go. But it's well, there's actually, I think there's more to go wrong these days, with like high density surface mount stuff. If you're doing a really like 0.5 millimeter pin pitch quad flat pack or something like that, you're trying to solder that, and you might get a little hairline short between two pins or something like that you don't see. Either you're using young good eyes, as we talked about before the show, or you're using a microscope and you just don't see a little hairline short somewhere. For example, or one of the pins is missed. It looks like it's soldered under the microscope, but it's not, for example, and there's no solder on there. And then it's not making contact, or worse, it's intermittent. If you've got an intermittent problem, they're the ones where, you could really learn a lot from that, and just tracing down those sort of faults. But, back in the old days with all big through hole stuff, it was really hard to sort of, really screw that up. So hopefully there's more opportunities to fail these days.
So you started another topic, what I have on my list, and is
okay.
It is like, what do you think? Because I receive this kind of emails like, I know nothing about electronics. When I watch
Yep.
your video, can I design a smartphone or motherboard?
Right.
So,
Yep.
so do you think like what these people are missing? Why this is not possible?
Sorry, why?
Why it's not
How to
possible watch a
explain to
video
them that
and
it's
then
not possible and
yeah.
then design a smartphone? Well, it's electronics is such a multiple disciplinary field. You know, you've got to have no. There's no one engineer that designs a smartphone, right? There's a whole team of engineers that have specialist fields, and you know, just you and myself, of course, are specialist PCB layout design engineers, right? That's one of our specialties. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to suck if I have to do applications programming, for example, or I'm going to do huge scale VHDL designs or something like that. And geez, my brain on that sort of stuff is so rusty. I wouldn't know where to start these days. So yeah, nobody's got the one skill set to do everything. You've got to specialize. I mean, I consider myself a bit of a generalist. I can do, you know, like a little bit of this, little bit of that, and I can do projects from start to finish. But something incredibly complex like a smartphone, there's so much involved. Well, no, as a generalist, I could. You could design a smartphone from scratch. There are do-it-yourself smartphone projects out there, right? You can get all the off-the-shelf chips, and it can run the Android, you know, can run like off-the-shelf Android and stuff like that. So you could do it, but a polished, finished product, there's a lot to it. I mean, I come from a test engineering background as well. That's been a lot of my job for many decades was test engineering. That alone is a specialized skill, how to develop specialized jigs to actually test and evaluate products in high volume
So how do they do? This is actually on my to-do list of videos. How do they do it? Tell me how they test smartphones.
They probably more engineering goes into the test jigs and the test stands for products like this than actually goes into the product itself. You'd be amazed. I'm sure if you went, I've never been to a smartphone factory, but I'm sure if you went there, they would have a test jig that does absolutely, like they might have ones that specialize in just the RF section, right? Because the test gear for testing the RF section is very different from testing, you know, other aspects of the product. So you might have an RF test station, which will have a giant head of nails usually, but it depends on the physical, how the product's physically laid out. You're obviously familiar with, you know, all this sort of stuff, and a gigantic bed of nails that comes down. All the RF ones, they might have automated RF probes, which actually go up and actually connect to the antenna output, and then they feed in modulated signals, or they'd feed in special test firmware as well. People don't realize that you've got to write specialized test operating systems. Just, you know, the phone during the factory assembly might get programmed with special factory test software and a test operating system and everything else. And then that's, once it's all the tests are passed, then it's wiped, and it's, you know, they install their Apple or their Android or whatever on there later. But no, somebody's got to develop all this complicated test software, which does, you know, it might do frequency sweeps, it might do power sweeps as well for testing different RF power output levels. And that's just like the RF section of it. And then you've got the audio sections, and you've got the power supply, battery charging, and all these bed of nails. They usually do it as a bare PCB, and, you know, a bed of nails comes down and probes certain parts, and they all go off to racks and racks of all this test gear and specialized software. It'll even automatically download the test software. So once the board comes over, these nails come down, go boom, and then it'll actually power up the board. It'll actually program the needed firmware on there. Then it'll run the test, which, you know, hooks up to all these automated instruments. And it's crazy complicated. It's crazy.
You think it is fully automated? Like
it's fully automated. Yes. Yeah. They will spend, when you're talking about manufacturing things in the millions, I can give you an example for when the highest, I've never worked on consumer stuff, but which is in the millions of volumes, even tens of millions of volumes. But I've worked on, the highest volume I've done was 300,000 boards. And this was a little amplifier board inside an underwater sonar sensor. And there were 25 boards per product. They were all the same, but they were little boards, and they all had to, so there was, we had like 300,000 of these things or something. And that was our first production run. So we actually developed, because the performance requirements on these things were so strict that each one had to be individually tested over the entire frequency range. The noise floor had to be measured and made sure it met spec and all sorts of stuff. So we developed this huge station, like a large table type thing, where the boards were put into a custom rack kind of thing. So each board slots into these racks. So you'd have like a big clip of them, right? You'd have like 50 or 100 boards, and you plug this into the thing, and a little piston came along and actually shoved a board out into its test spot. Then the bed of nails thing comes down, probes it. Wow. Then it'd start the automated test, and then the piston would shoot it out, and then a little flippy thing would go pass fail kind of thing. So all the ones that passed would go into this bin, and all the ones that failed would go into that bin. And I think we had another one where you could actually flag them as almost there. So they just failed spec by a small amount. And yeah, so this was all automated. Once you loaded up the system, you press the button, cross your fingers that there's no jams or anything like that, and it would test, tens of thousands of boards.
Wow.
Otherwise, it's like testing 300,000 boards by hand is just, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's a real pain in the butt.
Especially it would take a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So we automated this entire system, and we probably spent 6 months building this, table-sized custom development, custom test thing just for this one board. That was just one board. Then we had others for different boards in the actual system. So yeah, it's just crazy. So I can't imagine what lengths they go to in doing a smartphone or something like that.
Well, let's go back to what else.
How do we get sidetracked on that? I don't know.
No, it's okay. I always wanted to ask this question: how it is actually done in big, how this testing is done in big volumes. So about the why it is not so easy to actually become a really good engineer. I believe one of the things what people are missing, if they think just by watching video they will become better, I think what they are missing are skills and is experience. Because from what I see, we have many students, and I talk to many people, and I can say almost everyone makes same mistakes at the beginning. Like soldering connectors upside down, wrong pin numbering, and and I think
the list is endless.
This is what people don't understand, that they actually need to work with this job or something to actually become better. It's not only about knowledge, right?
And no, it's not just about knowledge. Like I've always said, like I am a qualified fitness instructor, right? It's just like I actually have qualifications in fitness instructor, but I don't go around calling myself a fitness instructor because it's not what I do for a living, right? So it's just like you can't just there's a lot of people that come out of engineering, and I've got my engineering degree, I'm an engineer. No, you're not. You're a qualified engineer, but that's not your day job, right? That is not what you do for a vocation. It's not what you do for a living. And no, you've got to be doing it to actually, call yourself an engineer or whatever. But yeah, no, you have to have the experience. And I still, when I'm doing videos, often, a lot of the things I'll talk about in videos, like I'm tearing apart a product, I'm showing it how it works. A lot of that stuff comes from more than 30 years ago. I learned, it's like all these little things build up. And even today, it doesn't matter if you've been in the industry 30, 40 years, you learn something new every single day. And it's just accumulation of all this stuff that you build up over the decades. No, you can't just watch a single video and absorb that, because most people forget the stuff that they actually watch in a video. Like a few things might stick, and it's the same with a course, whether it's a video or it's a classroom setting or whatever. You're only going to remember certain things that stick in your mind for X reason. It might be because it explained well, or it set off a light bulb in your head, and oh wow, that's interesting, I didn't know that. And that might stick in there, or it might not. I've probably forgotten more than when I actually studied. I've probably forgotten more than I learnt during study. It's all come from experience and stuff like that. So yep. Don't ask me how to solve a triple integral equation or something like that. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
it's something I've forgotten. I had no interest in it back then, and I have no interest in it now. So it's something that's just gone in one ear, straight out the other. So yeah.
I ask this topic because I see this a lot. For example, last year I was thinking to hire a junior engineer, and
really?
They just finished university, and I had some interviews, and they were like, I asked about salary, how much they would like to make, and they were like they ask for money like senior engineers. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, but you don't know anything yet. So why you would like to make same money as senior? Because I'm finished university and I know everything.
Nope. Not gonna happen. I got taken to task in a video for the opposite thing when I was looking to employ someone, right? I actually did a video announcing that, look, I'm, there's this job opening, come join me, junior position. I didn't care if you were qualified or not. Hobby experience was fine. And then I got criticized for it, and I had to shoot another video. And there were a lot of people who said, you're asking for too much. And it was like, no, I'm asking for basic hobby skills, because I was asking for a hobbyist. And I said, look, it wouldn't pay like, huge salary, right? It was sort of like a more like a hobbyist junior engineer graduate wage kind of thing. And they thought I was asking for too much. So like skills wise from the person, which was very interesting. And it was just all basic stuff, So, but yeah, people who graduate with their degree and expect to get a huge salary, I'm not going to say it's not possible, but it's pretty rare. Especially here in Australia. It's going to vary between countries. Like in the US, there's a very they have if you graduate from one of the top engineering schools, for example, then you might get poached by a company, for example, because they know you're up to a certain standard or whatever. Yeah, it's the same.
If you are good, usually most people they get jobs during study, because companies they reach to universities and they pick up the best students, and before they finish university, they are not available.
Right. Yeah, that's not so much a thing here. That's like, that it happens a little bit here, but not much. It basically comes down to your experience. That's why in my videos, I've said when you're doing your resume, you're writing your resume, you're after you've gotten your first job or your second job or whatever like that, your engineering, your school stuff goes down the bottom of your resume. It's your work experience that goes to the top, and that's all anyone cares about.
Exactly.
What skills do you have? Because they know, okay, you've learned maybe some basic stuff, you've passed the exams, you've learned some basic stuff, but you're a green engineer, you don't really know much. It's like, what stuff have you really worked on? That's what they want to know. So
exactly.
Yep.
So now the biggest question what everyone is asking, like, okay, they are looking for senior hardware engineer with experience, but how I can get experience if they are not going to hire me?
Yep.
So,
it's easy. Yeah, I've done several videos on this. Work on your own projects, for goodness sake. It's so cheap to work on your own. Yeah, back when I was a kid, to buy a microcontroller development kit, that was unheard of, right? You couldn't do that on your own. These things were thousands of dollars, right? They were really professional level tools. Now, tools are all free. You can buy it if you want to be you get experience with microcontrollers. Buy a $10 board and just and start playing around with it. Goodness, there's no excuse whatsoever. So yeah, just work on stuff. If you, but I don't know what to work on. Well, okay, fair enough. Some people don't know what to work on. Take an open source hardware project. Take an existing project that in an area that you have some sort of interest in, and then change it, modify it, add to it. You don't have to develop something from scratch. Just take something, as long as you've got something to show at the interview. When you physically turn up to the interview, you should physically have something and go, I designed this. Here's all the documentation. Ask me questions about it. And that doesn't have to be your original design from scratch. It was, just be honest and say, look, I really like this project, but, I wanted to add this feature to it or this or whatever. I wanted to put it in a different case. Just taking an existing open source project and putting it in a nice fancy case and changing the board layout so it fits in a beautiful looking case. That in its own is a skill, and that's something you can show off. So yeah, there is no excuse. Seriously, like
what
you
many
can
people
get 4, 6, 8 layer boards for cheap as chips now.
You know what many people don't realize. Usually, when I'm looking for someone, I don't look for specific skills or something, but I look for attitude. And when I see someone is working on electronic projects in their own time, it means they are interested in electronics. They have the motivation, they have the drive, they would like to solve problems, and that's what is important. It's not important for me that what kind of projects they design. That's not really
it's really it doesn't really matter. I'm totally the same thing. I've a lot of people. I've done this in one of my videos as well. I've talked about this. They'll often ask you at a job interview, what is your most valuable skill or something like that? It'll be a question of, I've always said my answer to that is enthusiasm. It's my enthusiasm for this. That's my most important skill. It's not physically that, I can write this code. Like, if you're an enthusiastic engineer, you've got the basic skill set, you're going to be able to pick up things fairly quickly. I'm totally on board. It's like, it's not needing specific skills. It's just having the attitude, the mindset, the enthusiasm to pick up those skills. So
because you will need to teach if someone is coming to your company, you always need to teach them anyway, because there is specific way how you work, there are specific tools, what you do, and you cannot expect to find someone who will exactly fit to your needs. So
no, exactly.
You just need someone who would like to learn and who is willing to learn.
Yep, totally. I mean, that's there are exceptions to that where you need a specific, like, some things that just take many years of, skills to gain, like some sort of advanced RF engineering sort of, any of the really advanced, advanced digital signal processing algorithms or something like that. You need somebody who has experience in that sort of thing. But just for, a general lab person who can help out for someone like you or me, just around the lab doing projects or whatever. Yeah, it's the enthusiasm that matters. It's not the actual skill set. So,
and that's the way totally how agree. They can get experience.
Yes, that's another way that they can get experience. But if you're not doing your own stuff, like if you're just graduating from your degree, you are behind like 99%. Well, no, if you've worked on your own stuff, you're ahead of 99% of other graduates. Most of them won't bother working on their own stuff. They just don't care. And that's one of the interesting things. When I went to university, right, I'm going like, nobody, like there was me and a friend of mine, and it's like, we're the only two who are actually interested in this. And it's like most other people just didn't care. They were just there for, I don't know what reason they were there for, but there were very few people who were genuinely interested in this and worked on their own stuff. And yeah, if you can do that, you're ahead of almost everyone. So
I agree.
yep.
I think
Work on your own stuff.
I think most people are super lazy these days, and
Yep.
if you just do some activities, then you are going to stand out. I remember
Yep.
once you had this video about CV, how to write good
Yep.
CV, and there was a comment. And I don't normally reply on comments too much, but this one was
Yeah.
really interesting because I commented out like everyone who is really genuinely interested about a position in a company, they should always write a specific cover letter to this company and explain
Yes.
what kind of contribution they can do and why they are the right person to do it. And someone commented on this like, but they didn't pay me to write this cover letter, specific cover letter for every company. And I was like, oh, you are doing this for yourself, not
I know, not for somebody else. I know. There was I did a specific video, actually a more specific video exactly on this. There was a kid who, well, it wasn't a kid, he was in his early 20s or something, and he spammed me, right? This was only 6 months ago or something. He spammed me his resume, and he admitted that he spammed it to everyone. He spammed, and there was no cover letter, there was no hi Dave, it was just, a generic hi. It was obviously just spammed out to everyone. So I did a specific video actually responding to him and saying, look, don't spam your resume. In fact, that was the name of the video, don't spam your resume. And and he just hurled abuse at me as if, like, dude, I'm giving you valuable advice. And he actually did a response video on his own channel somewhere, and it's hilarious. The guy thinks that spamming your resume is the way to go. It's not. So you got a specific cover letter, then tailor your resume to that particular role. Which is important, because if you highlight, especially if you've got a lot of experience, if you highlight every single thing you've worked on at every single job, your resume could be 10 pages long, and it shouldn't be. So you might have a really heavy, a really, a 5-10 page resume or something like that, and you might prune that down for a specific, tailored to a specific job, because they wanted power supply design. Oh yeah, I've done power supply design. It's not normally on my resume, but this company, that's something that they want. So you would add it, whereas you wouldn't for some other role where you're doing something else.
Exactly.
So, should be tailored. It's got to be personal.
I agree. So now a little bit different topic. When during my hardware design career, I actually, when I compare when I was starting with hardware design, I think I can say like I fully didn't understood exactly how everything works, and then there are these moments like, oh, capacitor is not always capacitor. Sometimes it's an inductor. Oh, that explains this. So So what do you think? What are these kind of important aha moments for people to really like? They need to change thinking. These are the moments like when they realize, oh, it works this way, not this way. Like, okay, I give you a different example. Like, currents or signals are not traveling through tracks, for example. That's one of the moments like, oh.
I was going to say that. Yeah. Everything is a component. Everything is a component. Every trace on that PCB has inductance, resistance, capacitance. And it's a transmission line, given enough. And the other thing is one of the key things a lot of people don't learn, or the light bulb goes off in their head, is that things can be a transmission line at low frequency, like low periodic frequencies. If you've got a square wave, like, if you've got really sharp edges, that's not, even if it's 1 megahertz signal or even lower, it could be a hertz, right? If you've got a really sharp edge, that's the thing that matters. Often that can be the thing that matters. Then you get reflections on the line. That's why you get overshoot and undershoot, and it can ruin your day. And it can, and you think, oh, that isn't high frequency, but yes, square waves are high frequency when due to that edge, not due to the period of the waveform. And that's something valuable to actually realize.
So what they should, go ahead.
Oh, as I was just going to say, and then you can realize that, oh, that's why I'm getting overshoot and undershoot on my oscilloscope. And, that's why I'm seeing all this. That's why it's causing my circuit to glitch, because the undershoot's so big that it's, it's causing problems, but it's a 1 megahertz signal. Why does it, like, that's low frequency, isn't it? No, it's, it's not the frequency you're working at. It's the edge rate. So, yeah, that can really matter. And then you go down the rabbit hole and then you realize, oh, some microcontrollers and FPGAs have slew rate limiting options on the pins. They can actually, you can make it slower so that effect is not, as bad as what it would be when you have a faster slew rate, for example. So yeah, you can really go down the rabbit hole there. That's important to learn. I'm sure there's tons of others.
Yeah, I think also like impedance is something. At the university, they teach you impedance are these calculations, but then you become an engineer, and for a very long time, I ignored impedance. Like,
yep, right,
and
yep. Oh no, you can do an awful lot. You can do an awful. That's one of the problems also with engineering, is that you can have an entire career without touching all the stuff we're talking about here. You can design all these products and they all work and everything's hunky-dory, but you've never touched transmission lines, for example, or you've never had to worry about decoupling, or things like that, and like actual decoupling going wrong or bypassing or whatever going wrong and things like that. You can but if you've got bad luck, I guess, but it's good from a learning experience, then your product will go wrong, and you got to figure out why. Oh, it's because my bypass capacitor is resonating with my PCB trace, right? And that's boom, right? And all hell breaks loose. And it's so simple. You just lay it out a board, for goodness sake. It's just, I'm doing the right thing. I'm putting my 100 nanofarad capacitor across my chip, and you're getting all these weird problems. Yeah. Welcome to the real world. You know?
I made a video about this topic because I used to place bead and capacitors, and the bead was even
the bead
bigger
resonates with it forms a resonant, forms an
exactly.
LC tank circuit.
But like 10-15 years ago, all the recommendations place beads everywhere.
Oh yes, ferrite beads. Yeah, it's just they can cause a lot of problems. So can just multiple bypass capacitors in parallel, and if you space them different widths, they can have different inductances between two different bypass capacitors. Yet you think you're doing the right thing, but if it's not your day, then it's going to ruin your day.
I always thought, like, how big the inductance of the trace can be. It cannot really influence my circuit,
Yep. But it can, and it's like you can simulate this stuff, but for almost 99.999% of projects, you're not going to bother to go to the effort to simulate bypassing and trace, like, power trace impedance and loops and stuff like that. It's just something that you design in and hope it works, and then if it hope it passes all your tests, and then comes the test engineering involved in that, in actually qualifying that over temperature ranges, over voltage ranges, and all sorts of things to ensure that there's no little margin in there where your product starts to do something weird. Oh, it works fine on the bench at room temperature, and then or whatever, and then it goes out somewhere else, and it just fails. Just goes out in the field and fails. So Yeah. Then there's another art in itself is actually qualifying products. You can get, if you've got a large enough company, smartphone manufacturers, for example, they'll have a team of qualification engineers, which will qualify the products over, temperature, vibration, humidity, noise, external RF noise, and both irradiated and conducted noise, and all sorts of, things. And it's just, yeah, they'll have an entire team devoted to that. And you can make an entire career as a specialist product qualification engineer, for example. So, yeah, there's just countless fields. Once you get to a big enough scale, it's okay to design your little Arduino widget, and you can do it all yourself and everything. But once you get to a big enough scale, you've got teams of people devoted to little tiny things you don't think matter. But yeah, they certainly do.
Yeah, this is also one of the things what I keep saying, like, and I remember it happened to me when I was starting, like, you build something on your table and you are like, it works. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it works.
No, it doesn't. No, that's right.
it only reset once a week.
Once a week, yeah, it's fine. And then it goes, so I'm going to manufacture 1,000 of them. I'm going to sell them on Tindy. And then you get a 10% failure rate, because, you didn't account for something. So, exactly. That's a really big deal. Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm not going to say unfortunately, but it's so easy to design and sell your own products these days, right? That a lot of products these days aren't even in a case; they're just a bare board, right? You just buy a bare board on Tindy, and that's how a lot of products come, especially in our sort of hobby kind of space kind of thing. And it's so easy to do that, yet people won't qualify the products. Actually test them thoroughly. They won't know how to. For example, they'll just think, yep, as you said, it works on my bench. That's it. Ship it. And most of the time that can work, with most, it's the stuff I've been talking about and we're talking about here is like, it's fairly rare, but when it happens, it can really ruin a lot of stuff. It's, yeah. Even the simplest products, even the simplest stuff.
I know this.
Yep. You know this. Yeah, it's just, I can see the look on your face. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, one of my first, it was not first one, it was maybe like third one, when boss asked me, like, this is expensive, we have to design it on 2-layer PCB. And
two-layer?
A 2-layer PCB, and then that's the project when I learned 2-layer PCBs are really, really bad.
Yeah, they're not that great. No, it's especially once again for most like simple products. Yeah, they're fine, but
no, that was like real bass, and communicating with interfaces and no.
Oh yeah, yep.
A lot of crosstalk, crashing, freezing.
Yep. So they did the 2-layer because they wanted to save cost. Is that why? Yeah, right. Wow.
Exactly. Okay.
Whereas these days you might not worry about it, right? Because there's not a huge
4-layer and 2-layer. I think I always recommend people go at least for 4-layer. They are not much more expensive than 2-layer, but it's much better.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree.
Okay, let's talk. We don't have much time. So let's talk a little bit about YouTube.
Wait, have we been going for 40 minutes or something? Really?
Yeah, it's...
Oh, come on. YouTube. All right.
Yeah, let's talk about YouTube.
Oh, God.
I would like to talk a little bit about YouTube because I see that many people would like to start creating their own videos. And maybe, they have their own reasons. Maybe they would like to promote themselves, or they would like to become YouTubers or something. So what is, first, maybe I would like to start with something like, what kind of clever thought you would tell them, like, don't do it or do it, or if you do it, this should be the reason why you are doing it, or...
Oh, well, no, I would never say don't do it. I would never say, unless they told me, oh, I'm going to do it because I'm going to get rich. Well, no, even then I would say do it. Just go ahead and do it, because you're going to fail at 100% of the things that you don't do, right? So if you don't do it, you're guaranteed to fail. Whereas if at least you have a go, you do have a chance. But you've got to be realistic, of course. You know, back when I started, right, 12 years ago, 2009, right, nobody was making a full-time living on YouTube. It wasn't a thing. The partner program didn't exist. I don't think when I started. It was like you did it because you just enjoyed sharing stuff, right? You know, like there weren't even any famous YouTubers. Oh, they might have had 50,000 subscribers or something. That was like the world's biggest YouTube channel, you know. And yeah, no, you did it because you just wanted to share stuff. And I still think that's the best way to do it, is because you want to share things, share your passion for. Doesn't matter what it is, right? And yeah, if you're doing it for other reasons, you can succeed, but your chances are less, I think. And because it's YouTube for a reason. People subscribe for you. They subscribe for the person. And if you're not genuine about the stuff you're talking about, if you don't have a genuine passion, enthusiasm for it, people can tell. They can just, you know, the tone in your voice, they can just tell that you're doing this to make money or whatever, you know, and that can work, but generally not. No, I'd say do it because you want to, you know, you definitely want to do it. You want to share, or, you know, a lot of people do it to make a name for themselves, as you said, which, yeah, you can make a good name for yourself these days. But even then, even if you don't make a name for yourself, have a YouTube channel, put all your stuff on there, goes on your job resume, right? So, you know, look, I've got my YouTube channel, I'm sharing my projects and stuff. You might gain a small audience, you know, you might get a couple of thousand subscribers or something like that. And that's good enough to put on your resume that you're sharing stuff like this. So, yeah, but you got to do it because you enjoy it.
And what they should expect when they start creating the videos?
What you should expect no immediate success. As like you can spend, especially like in our space, if you want to start an electronics YouTube channel now, odds are you're not going to be an overnight success, and unless you've got some really novel way you're doing it, presenting stuff like that. Yeah, expect to work at it continuously for years before you build up an audience. Rarely do you go viral. In our industry, at least, you see, like you're not going to suddenly go viral. You might in some other industry niche, or some other, you know, that has a more mainstream audience. You might, but no, the odds of going viral is almost, it's borderline zero. You might as well round it down to zero. So you've got to spend years at it. You've got to make probably, you know, dozens, hundreds of videos. Some depends on how much effort you put into each one, of course. But yeah, don't expect success. So, if you do succeed, bonus.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
And I can confirm it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's just like there are some that there's two camps. There's those that put a lot of effort. You know, they'll put weeks or a month's work into one video. And there's others like myself who just like, if I can't shoot a video in one day, I'm probably not going to do it. You know, I'm a bit lazy in that respect. You know, I can't work. I can't picture myself working a whole week or a month on one video. That's just not me. That's not my style. But for others, it can work. But yeah, there's generally two types. If you have, you know, super polished content that takes you forever, or you just sort of like churn stuff out kind of thing. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. Both of them can work. So yes, it's just up to the person doing them. What's your preferred method?
So what they should be like, what they should be thinking about when they are creating the video, because what I learn is like topic is important, for example.
Yep.
Then big or how large the audience may be possible. And I think many people they heard this advice before, but they don't realize how important it may be, because I see some people making mistakes. Like I did mistake. It's not kind of mistake, but I started as Altium guy. And,
yes,
that's what helped me, because I had these Altium videos. But then one day I realized like, but you know, this Altium audience is not like huge.
No, it's not big.
So,
That's it.
so
Yeah.
what they need to keep in mind when they decide on what kind of video they would like to make?
It goes back to what you want to do. I would not be chasing an audience. I would not recommend creating contents to chase an audience. I would go just work on stuff that works for you, like that you're interested in doing, and then maybe tweak it, see what the results are, and then, you know, don't make drastic changes because you think, oh, the audience is all over here, they've moved over here, something like that. Just do stuff that you enjoy. And you know, sometimes, as you said, there's a niche audience. I mean, you've got the, you know, you were the Altium guy, right? You're doing niche audience, but the thing is, you will get your channel like that will get a much higher subscriber to view ratio than one like mine. I've got like two dozen different types of video that I actually do. Is in my recent survey thing, I've got this huge list of all the different types of videos that I do. There's 24 of them. It's crazy. So I can't produce a video to please every single person every single time. It's physically impossible. Whereas if you stick to one, you know, one sort of not necessarily topic, but one style, for example, then you can often be more popular. Great Scott, for example, if you watch one of his videos each time, you know exactly what you're going to get. You know he's spent like a week on it or more on it. It's going to be, you know, 7-10 minutes long, or, you know, they're all sort of around the same and they all look and feel the same. They all have the same formula kind of thing. So you know what you're going to get when you click on one of his videos, for example. Whereas you subscribe to my channel, you don't know what you're going to get. You know, it could be a quick, unlikely to be a quick 5 or 10 minute video, but it could be a 40-minute teardown, or it could be a half-hour repair or something like that. Or it could be, you know, some advice on something else, or it could be something I find in the dumpster. You know, it's just totally random. So I'd say you're probably going to get more success sticking to some sort of formula.
So something in what they like to do.
Something that they enjoy doing, and then stick to a style. I think that's probably the biggest mistake I made, is that my channel's just generic. It's just got tons of different styles, and, you know, it's not the same thing every time. So I think you're probably going to get a more effective and larger audience if it's the same style every time you give them. You know, just choose a style and stick to it. And then if you want to do something different, set up a second channel to do that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the, yep.
So they definitely should not make it to become rich, because
oh no,
how much you know, can you earn a lot of money as a YouTuber?
Well, you can, but you need a lot of daily views. Like it's a, you know, it's an average thing over the span of a year, you know, or, you know, months or whatever. It's not just every video. It's, you know, especially back catalog, but that depends on your content. Like content like yours and mine has a lot of long tail views, they're called, over time. Like a lot of our videos are still relevant, you know, a decade later. Whereas if you're doing like news content or something, as soon as the news is finished, nobody's ever going to watch that video again. It's like, you know, people aren't going to search for it. You know, it's not going to be. So I would try and make content. That's the other thing. I would try and make content that appeals over time. So it's going to appeal to people in 5-10 years time. Then you've got this big back catalog of content, and your channel is probably similar. Half of my daily views come from all of my existing, you know, 1,500 videos. They don't come from the latest video that I'm doing now. You know, half my views come from old videos.
There are actually some phases. What I realized, like when channel is very, very small, then you get views mostly through search, for example. So
yes,
I was doing videos with title which helped to find the video, so people could learn something from the video.
Yes,
but once you become a little bit bigger, then you have these subscribers which will see every video which you post, and that can get you some views, and then you cross the point like this will give you much more views
Yep.
than
Yep.
the views from the search, and then you keep like
Yep.
changing the way how you create these videos or what you are talking about. But okay.
Yes, you can massage the ways that you do things over time. Like I've sort of made my content now is a bit more polished than it used to be. Like I just used to film anything, upload it. Now I take more care, but it's still, so you can make changes over time, but it's only smaller things really.
Okay. So I have
a
few more questions about this.
Yep.
One is I see sometimes you make very popular videos which are about others or other projects doing something wrong.
Oh, right.
And so are you not like worried that it will some kind of get backfired and they will sue you or something, and
I've been threatened a few times. Debunking videos, for example, exposing scams and stuff like that. I've been threatened quite a few times and attacked quite a few times. But that goes with the territory. That's why so few people do it. There's not many people out there doing debunking videos, exposing scams and stuff like that. So that's just part of the risk, unfortunately. So the key to doing that is not to say anything that's not true, right? Because you can't get sued for defamation if it's true or you genuinely believe it, right? So it's got to be true. So yes, or it's got to be your professional opinion. For example, yes, it's my opinion this product will not work, right? Because XXXXX. But that doesn't mean they can't sue you. Anyone can sue you at any time for anything. And if they have a lot of money to pour into a lawsuit, even if it's a frivolous and you're guaranteed to win. Like if everything I say in a video is true and they can't sue me for defamation, that doesn't stop them from suing me for defamation. And if they've got more money to throw at it and I don't have much money to defend myself, I'm going to lose. I'm going to fold, right? And so
I would be super worried.
It is a constant worry. I just had this the other day. I just so I won't go into details, but it's just
And what I would like to mention, it's really, from my experience, I really like most of the people. They are super cool, but there are few people.
Are you talking about viewers here? Are you talking about viewers?
Yeah, comments and
Oh right, okay. Right.
There are some kind of categories, and I would like to talk a little bit about this so people are prepared and maybe they have a little bit of view into what we feel sometimes. So I think there are like two categories.
Yeah.
One category, they are like really bad people, sad people, and then there is this category of people who knows everything and you don't know nothing. So how do you kind of like, do you answer this or you don't react, or how do you cope with these comments and people?
It depends on how thick your skin is. If you're going to be a YouTuber, you've got to have a thick skin. I mean, you've got to be willing to put up. Once your channel gets built, if you've got a small channel, you probably know this. Once your channel's small, the only people watching it are for those who like you, or like your real fans. But once it gets big enough, there's a bell curve, and you'll get all these nut jobs out here, right at the edge of the bell curve. And once your channel gets big enough, you'll get X number of nutcases and people who will pester you. And you've got to have a thick skin. You can either ignore them, you can block them, which is probably the recommended approach, something like that. But don't do it too. I will only block people if they constantly abuse me or they're constantly polluting or spamming my contents or comment section or something like that. It's really hard for me to, you really have to do something very bad for me to block you, for example. Don't take it personally. You've got to, if you're going to be in this business, you have to be willing to accept feedback. I mean, there was a trend a couple of years back, all these YouTubers doing these burnout videos. I'm burnout. I can't handle the stress anymore. Mental health, I can't, I've got to take 6 months off and stuff like that. I don't think that's ever going to happen to me, because I just it's water off a duck's back. If you want to hurl abuse at me, I'll just either laugh it off. And yes, I do actually reply. I've actually got a hate email address where it's on my site.
Yeah,
you can send me hate mail, and I do actually
people
read
use
it. Yes, people use it. People use it, and I do actually read it. I read, and I even reply to my hate mail. It's just, sometimes you got to, for me, it's one of the fun aspects of actually, if there's trolls in there, I'll often have fun with them and just, do like a silly reply or something like that, making fun of them or something, or I'll troll them back, for example, and it can be one of the fun aspects. But for other creators, a lot of people cannot handle it. So yeah, it's very important if you're going into the YouTube business, you have to be able to handle that. You have to be willing to, not take it personally.
So what if you make a mistake in video?
Oh, I very rarely, it'd have to be a really bad mistake. Like small mistakes, I just have a comment, pin it, look, I made a mistake at X. YouTube used to have the
annotation, I know.
Annotations you can put out, and they just did away with it. That was great for technical videos like ours. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Right. And they turned that off one day, and I lost hundreds and hundreds of videos of all these annotation technical corrections. It's just gone. So yeah, I generally don't worry. I realize that every video I make is going to have at least one error. It's it's almost guaranteed I'm going to say something wrong because I don't have a script, right? I just turn on the camera and start talking. So I'm going to, my mind is, at a different speed to my mouth, and and I'm just not, I'm going to say something wrong. It's guaranteed. So I just, if it's bad enough, I'll add a comment, pin it. And if it's really bad that I know that, this video is going to get views for the next 10 years and I'm going to get constant emails about it, then I'll reshoot it. I'll, render it and upload. But usually the good thing about that is that usually, and this is why when I upload and release a video, in the first 10 minutes, I'll sit there for, or half an hour, even an hour, watching the comments, replying to live comments. And if I've goofed anything, within 10, 15 minutes, somebody's going to tell me, and then I can actually pull, if it's bad enough, I will actually pull the video and edit and fix it and then upload. But if you re-upload, of course, you lose all the comments and you lose. Yep. But yeah. But no, it's fairly rare that I have to do that. That the goof is that bad. I just know I'm going to make mistakes and I don't care.
When you do anything, there is chance that you will make a mistake. If you don't make mistake only if you do nothing.
Yeah. No, I think even if you write scripts, even if you're one of those scripted YouTubers who write and spends a week writing and polishing a script, you're probably still going to just assume you're going to make a mistake, and you have to live with that. Yeah. Yep.
So it means if someone would like to create YouTube videos, and if they are not sure if they are going to be right or not.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. No. Well, my employee David, he started making videos for me, making tutorial videos, but unfortunately that wasn't his thing, and he'd get if there was a single mistake, he would reshoot it 10 times to take out every single little thing wrong. And so you're never going to be able to become a YouTuber if you continually have to polish stuff. You have to publish it and go, look, it's good enough. Publish it, move on to the next video. If I made a mistake, I'll fix it in the comments down below. Not a problem, But some people can't do that. As I said, some people just aren't suited to actually doing this sort of thing. You've got to accept the abuse, the comments, and you've got to accept that you're going to make mistakes. Often make a fool out of yourself.
I remember this one video where I connected push button wrong way.
Yeah. Well, I did a repair video the other day, and I blew it up. I blew it up. Right? I did
seen
something
it.
incredibly stupid. You've seen it, right? And I thought, like most YouTubers wouldn't actually release that. It's too embarrassing, right? And yes, it is embarrassing, but I don't care. Like I've been doing this for so long. And it's a valuable learning experience. So if there's a valuable lesson in there, then I think that's, yes, I'm making a fool out of myself. But oh God, I got the, how dumb was that? Putting in the wrong value resistor. That was just dumb. By 4 orders of magnitude. I was out by 4 orders of magnitude in the value. I used a 1.80 where I should have used an 18K or something. And it was dumb. But it was valuable. So I went, who cares?
But I can tell you,
Send it out there.
When I watched the video, I was not really thinking like, oh, Dave did mistake. No, that was not what I was thinking.
No. Oh, okay, good. No. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Because most people, that's the thing. You've got to not be hard on yourself, because most people won't feel that way about you. Most people will actually respect. There were a lot of comments on that video that, hey, I actually respect you for releasing this video, and not just hiding it and, tossing it in the bin or just secretly editing it as if it didn't happen, and it's no. Yeah. So I changed it. Yeah. I mean, so I changed the video entirely. It was supposed to be a repair video, and I never actually repaired it, right? I actually blew the thing up. So I turned it into a different type of video. It was like, here's not what to do. Here's a reverse engineering thing, which I was never going to do. But here's a reverse engineering of how I made that mistake and what caused the current to flow and everything. So I just completely changed the type of video that it was. And, works still. Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing, but who cares, So
I have we have like time for one more question, or?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a lot of time. It's your time.
Oh, well, we have a lot of time. All right, we'll do a few.
It's only 9 o'clock in the morning here, so.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, no, I've got a wife and kids. It's 6 o'clock at night here, so, yep.
Okay, so this is something what I found very interesting, that you know so much. It may look like, I'm trying to flatter you or something. It's not
right. No,
true.
I get a lot of comments like that. Yeah.
It's, even when you do like mailbag, you immediately like, oh, this is probably this, and this is how it works. And I'm like, oh, how does he know this? So how did you learn all this?
I've been doing it for 35 years. 35 years of taking stuff apart ever since I was a kid. It's like, it's just all that experience. And my memory, like, as I said, like, I won't be able to remember formulas that I learned in school, right? Specific formulas, because they didn't interest me. But I will remember, something that I read in Electronics Australia magazine from an article in 1982. For some reason it just sticks in my head. These weird things and little things will stick in my head. But I've probably forgotten more than I've learned. But there's lots of little things for some reason stick in my head that I learned 30 plus years ago when I was a kid.
So does it mean you have to keep disassembling stuff and then you will learn?
But I've forgotten, a ton of stuff. It's weird what sticks in my head and what doesn't. Like sometimes I'll tear apart something and the comments will just be filled with, I can't believe you didn't mention that. And I'm going, of course I should have mentioned that. It's blaringly obvious. Even when I edited the video, I didn't even see it. It was like, I know that, right? I knew that, but it didn't come into my head at the time. So it's just, it's what randomly comes into my head. When I take something out of the mailbag or when I do a tear down and the lid comes off, that is genuinely my first experience. Because I think if you try and like peek and then figure out what to say, it'll be obvious. Like people will be able to spot that you're not genuinely surprised when you open it, so to speak. So when I open something, that's my first reaction. Kind of thing. And the first thing that pops out of my head, and my eyes might dart to look at that layout over there. Look at what have they done there, or it might be look at that big ass component over there. Why is that component on that side? It should be on that side. And that will be the first thing that jumps into my head. And I have no idea how or why. It's just like, I don't know.
But I guess it's
Strange.
because you've seen so many products. Maybe that's
It's I've torn apart so many products. I've worked on so many products and things like that. But there's, as I said, like there's aspects of engineering. There's something I learn new every single day. There's so many things there's more things I haven't worked on than I've worked on by orders of magnitude. Like, I've been in the industry, doing this for 35 or more years or whatever. And there's more stuff I don't know than stuff I know by orders of magnitude. I guarantee it. So, yeah. So, like, as I said, I've got more of a general knowledge. I sort of like pride myself on that. I know a little bit about most things, just enough to be dangerous kind of thing. So, yeah.
so. Why do you like so much, for example, the solar energy and
the scams and things I just hate bullshit, and I think it's funny. I just like when I see stuff, it's like, come on, it's and it's a bit of a niche, like so many. And I think there's learning experiences there, how to actually detect bullshit. I think that's a valuable skill in product, not only in engineering as well. You can, like, your manager comes up, I want you to design this, do it this way, and you go, no, it's bullshit, that's not going to work. I'm like, it's not going to, like, you don't just go okay and go away and try and do it. You know it's not going to work, because of X and X, and you just need to sort of stand up for yourself. And I think that's also a valuable skill. But that means I didn't climb up the ladder. I was not good at climbing the industry ladder, let's put it that way. I was too outspoken, So don't do what I do if you want to get up the ladder. There's a lot of people don't like being told that they're wrong or their idea is stupid. But that's just the way I am. Like, I've got no tact. In fact, I think I mentioned this on a video somewhere. My first ever reference that I got from my first ever job actually said on it, I don't know if I still have it. It actually said, Dave sometimes lacks tact. On my reference, on my job reference, I think it said, the full quote was, Dave sometimes lacked tact, but I believe that with time and experience, he will improve these qualities or whatever. But like, even back at my first job, they knew that I have no tact whatsoever. I'd go in there and say, this is wrong. This is wrong. No, you're doing it wrong. And it's like, I was like 17, it's like 19 years old when I got that reference, I think.
So
and it was like,
okay,
nuts.
Okay, maybe the last question now, because it is actually on my list. Like, how did you start with electronics? Is it because you were young and you really like it, and then or I was taking stuff apart. I had no friends who were into it. I had no family, friends, teachers, nothing that were into it. But we're talking about the 1970s here, late 70s, and not that old. And I was taking stuff apart because back then, people didn't have computers to distract them with stuff. If you were naturally curious about stuff, you got into electronics. You took stuff apart. You'd go to your Dick Smith or your Radio Shack store or whatever store you've got in your country, and you'd get one of these project kits. I kept taking stuff apart because I wanted to know how they work. So my parents got sick of me taking apart all of the family stuff, so they bought me a one of those Tandy 50-in-1 kits, with all the components, you wire and the little spring terminals, and you wire them all up. And then I bought my first multimeter. Yeah, you got the same. Yep. And that's how I started. So hobby background. Yep. One of the questions what I have here is, what knowledge the current engineers or people who would like to become good engineers, what they are missing, what they should learn more about?
Learn more about? Oh God.
Or how?
That's a tough one. I keep going back to what interests you, and then work on all the skills required to produce something that you're interested in. Have an end goal in mind, and then work, build up the skills necessary to build that particular product or do that thing.
So there is no like specific knowledge, like
No.
they should learn more theory or they should
No,
solder
no,
more or something. They
no,
will learn
no,
this.
I don't. You will learn that when you have to do something, that's when you learn. When you have an end goal. The worst thing you can do is try and learn without an end goal. You've got to have like, I want to produce this widget, or I want to make this LED flash, or I want to make this robot move around on its own using a camera or something. That's when you have to, you've got that goal, and that's when you have to build up different little skill sets to actually get there.
This is actually a good answer.
This
is a good answer, because
excellent.
Some people, they may think like, oh, I can't be good engineer because I don't know, I didn't learn PCB layout or high speed or microwaves or something. So it's not really required to learn specific knowledge and then you will become.
No, that's right. No, it's like so few people have knowledge in every area. It's it's rare. Like some of the best engineers I know can't solder to save their life. They're just they can't lay out a PCB, right? But they're absolutely brilliant in so many other areas, and they're top of their field, kind of thing. So yeah, no, it's you can't just think that. Some of the best theory people, of course, they're great in theory, but they can't do. They've got no other practical skills, for example. But
this is
this
is very interesting topic, because
it is. I know it's controversial.
Exactly, because I know people who are really good in one area, then another area, and then they can't agree on what is actually good. Because
oh yes, I know. It's Electro Boom did he did a video calling out what was the professor's name? If you've seen he called like Kirchhoff's current law is wrong. The professor said Kirchhoff's current law is wrong, and Mehdi from Electro Boom, who I'm hoping to do a video with very shortly, actually. He claims no, he's not right. They were, but so you had a theoretical physics professor versus a practical electronics engineer, and it's kind of like they're actually like no one's right or wrong. Sort of like, yes, the professor's right, but also Mehdi was right from a practical point of view as well. So you can't say one or other is right over the other. That was really interesting. It had to do with Kirchhoff's current laws.
This is exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, story done. I think.
This is exactly, basically, for example, what I see a lot about like PCB stack up. Like, shall we pour the ground or not?
Oh there's a lot of I know some you could probably design certain tests to say to prove that one way is better than the other, yet somebody could design a different test to show that no, this way is better than that way. Like it's like, no, should you put multiple bypass capacitors in parallel, or should you just have one big bulk one? I can show you tests that can prove both people are right, both camps are right, or wrong. You just can't.
So this is interesting. So does it mean like people should accept that there is no like
there's no truth, there's no universal truth,
universal answer? Yeah,
sometimes yes, sometimes, like often there is, of course, like Ohm's law holds, like yes, there's no over unity, like well, no, I'm not going to say that, prove it to me, but no, it's the odds are, like with my I get emails from all these over unity free energy people, right, saying, oh, look at my design. I've even had offers of one guy offered to fly me to Canada and pay me $20,000 if I come over there. He'd pay for my ticket, come over, $20,000 if I would test and evaluate his free energy machine, right? And it's like, it's like, no, right? The odds of you having cracked over unity is borderline zero. I'm not saying it's not possible in the, like it's just no, but the odds of you being wrong are 99 point, 109s, right? It's just, it's just crazy. So there are, yeah, there are some universal truths, but yeah, sometimes no, it depends on the circumstances. So yeah,
That's what.
totally. Yeah,
But many people, they don't like answer like it depends, because that
yeah,
will not
I know,
solve their
I know.
problem.
Yeah, but that's engineering, isn't it? Isn't that's the engineering motto? It depends, right? Isn't it like is it not? I mean, engineers are like, it depends. Like, should you do this or this in the circuit? Well, it depends. Do you want to meet a cost target? Do you want to meet a performance target? Do you want, some other, thing that's important? It's like, it depends, right?
But they will be asking like, it depends. But I would like to know what I should do.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's why that's often why my videos are so long, because I'll go into the it depends part of my video. It's like, yeah, you could do it this way, but here's why you might want to do it this way or this way or this way. And, that's why my videos end up 30, 40 minutes long, because I'm, explaining different ways to look at something or do something. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, I'm looking for if there is something really interesting what we forgot to talk about. What is the most complicated video you created?
Complicated.
Yeah.
Does it have to be a single video, or can it be a video series?
It could be
Because I did the
serious.
project, because I did the power supply design series, which I never finished, and that annoyed a hell of a lot of people. I did 15 parts. It was I think I got up to part 15, actually designing a power supply. Like it was supposed to be a finished product, but it was just kind of like my hobby project. And then during the video, I actually spun off two different versions of it. And I started like a sub series of this, while I kept making the main series, I went, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I had a little portable battery power one or something? So I went off and designed that version as well, and started like a little mini series inside a mini series, and it was just, it was a mess. And I still get hate mail to this day, saying, when are you going to finish the power supply design series? Are you actually going to have a finished product at the end of it? And
I need to have a look. I don't remember this one.
Yeah, it's
How long was it?
Oh,
ago?
this was 7 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. Power supply design series, EEVBlog, PSU design part.
Okay,
Lab
I will find it.
9 years ago. 9 years ago was part one. Holy crap! Yeah.
I will find it.
Yep. And as part of that, when I was laying out the board, that's when I decided, it'll be interesting to do a board layout video. This is your bread and butter. You've probably done 100 board layout videos, right? How to lay out an entire board from scratch. Whereas I thought, this was 9 years ago as well. But that was my how to lay out a PCB video. But it was also happened to be part 9 of my power supply design series. So, but I thought it was such, so I did a screen capture as I actually laid out the board, and then I sped it up 10, 15 times or whatever. And then I added my commentary track on top of it of what I was thinking of when I was laying out the board, and that was very popular. That's 280,000 views. So yeah, the power supply design series. Yeah. Apart from that, as I said, if I can't do a video in a day, I'm probably not going to start it. That's just not my thing. There's the occasional video that's taken me, a couple of days, maybe, that I'm really motivated to do it. But I don't think there's ever a video that's taken me like a week, for example.
This is one of my questions on the list. I now remember.
Yeah.
How do you manage your time? Because I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain.
Poorly is the answer.
You are really good if you can make video in one day. It actually takes me 3 days to make one video.
Yep.
And then it means
but yours are more polished. Yours are more polished than mine, I would think.
I'm not so easy. You are really good in thinking and talking, and
Right. Okay.
I'm not very
Yeah.
good in this. I have
So,
to.
some people can't do it. Yeah. Some people have to write scripts. They have to plan it. Whereas me, I literally almost every video I do is I, 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 I press the record button and I start talking and
Lucky
a
you.
video pops out at the end. Yeah. Yeah. Like sometimes that's why they're often long and they go off on tangents. And I've got no, even when I do a whiteboard tutorial, a lot of people say, oh, how much planning goes into a whiteboard tutorial video on, circuit design or so. It's almost the same thing. I might, if like a complicated video, I might have a post-it note with like 5 different points that I want to cover, and that's it. I don't know when I press record. I don't know what I'm going to say, what comes out of my mouth. That's why, yeah, I like even when I'm doing a design tutorial, people go like my op amp. I think my most viewed video is my op amp design, my op amp tutorial whiteboard video that I do, and that was just me pressing record and trying to think of stuff to say about how op amps work. There was really no plan to that.
That's why you can create 2 videos a week.
In theory, like if I was really motivated, I can make a video a day. I could do 5 a week. If I really got off my ass and stopped watching other YouTube videos, like I'll probably spend a quarter of my day watching other YouTube videos, or just bumming around and just watching Twitter. And if I switched off everything, and just made videos, I could make a video a day. Yeah.
Once I tried this, and actually I think making 1 video a day, it's too much, because people started telling me like they don't have enough time to watch every single video.
Yes.
So
I came to the same conclusion. I used to do at least 3 videos a week. I had 3 regular segments. There was Mailbag Monday, Teardown Tuesday, and Fundamentals Friday. And I would actually shoot those videos on the day. So a Mailbag Monday video, I'd come in Monday morning, I'd shoot the mailbag and complete it, edit it, upload it by Monday night. And then Tuesday I'd start again with a random teardown. And then on Friday, I'd start Friday morning. I'd go, shit, what do I want to do a tutorial on today? And I think of something, and I go to the whiteboard and I do a tutorial on it, and all that was shot was I'd come up with the concept, I'd shoot it, edit it, and upload it in the same day, usually. And I did that for a long time. But then I'm not going to use the word burnout, but it just got a bit boring in the end, and it was like, I don't know, I'm sort of like committing myself to these dates, but that was a very, very, very deliberate choice to do those 3 regular segments so that I would, because I've always said this, engineers work best when they have a deadline, right? If I know it's Monday and I've got to shoot a mailbag today, I've got to finish it, because I have to release it on Monday. Because yep. And so that forced me to do it. And so now I'm lazier. I don't have that schedule anymore. I'm lazier now than I was when I absolutely committed to those 3 videos on 3 specific days a week.
But
and then I do
another
video.
2 videos a week.
I still try and do 2 videos a week. Yeah. Yep.
So, okay, let's go back to the original question.
But now I've got a family and stuff. Yeah.
How do you manage your time?
Original question I've forgotten. How do I manage my time? Poorly, as I said, very poorly. I don't manage my time. I piss away so much. The amount of time I piss away on Twitter, on my forum, because I'm a forum nerd. I've got, the EEVBlog forum is huge. Spend time on there, just, reading YouTube comments, emails, replying to people. And then there's the business side of things as well. And then I'll just watch content and I'll just bum around. Some days I just go, I'm just not going to do anything today. I'm just not in the mood. I'm just too lazy. I don't know. I'm just going to waste the day. It's like, whereas, if I was more focused, I would actually produce more content. Yep.
That's
Stay off Twitter.
That's interesting because, how you can, because for example, business on my side, it's taking so much time, emails.
Yeah, it does.
And
yep.
I really don't have to write emails.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, emails, packing and shipping, and I've got advertisers and stock and arranging things like that. And it's just, yeah, and so many companies contacting me and people contacting me. And, I still read every email. I don't reply to every email that, like, I try to. Like, if somebody sends me a personal email, I try and help them out. But it got to a point where I now have to, if they ask me a technical question, like an email, look, I've got this circuit, I need help. I've actually got a canned response now that says, look, sorry, if I spent 10, 20 minutes minimum on every single one of these email requests, I'd never have any time to produce content. Please go to the forum. And then if you ask on the forum, then either I might, actually can answer your question on the forum, or somebody else might, and you'll get a much better response because other people will contribute, as because I don't know everything, right? It's like, whereas somebody out there might be an expert, in this broken thing or this circuit you're trying to do. Somebody, almost guaranteed, somebody out there knows the answer, whereas I might not. It might, and if I have to spend
other people,
and it helps. That's what it says in my email. It says if it's on the forum, then it's searchable for other people can find it and they have the same question. Whereas if I spend 15, 20 minutes, half an hour responding to your email, that only helps you. It doesn't help. Whereas if you ask it on the forum and then I answer it on the forum, that helps, I
think many people who will be watching this video, they actually received the same email from me. Like,
right.
Post your questions on our forum.
On the forum, and sorry, and I said, it's a very lengthy canned response. It's but I explain how it's not possible,
It's
just
not.
the sheer volume and as you said, it helps other people if you ask on the forum, that it's searchable forever,
Exactly.
So totally agree.
Okay, so I'm not going to take more of your
No
time
worries.
because
All right, mate. It's been fun. Thanks for having me on.
I really enjoyed this call.
Yep,
so,
me too.
And
good fun.
I'm going to tell you, sometimes you say you had no idea what you are going to do. So yesterday I was exactly thinking like, what kind of video I'm going to post on Thursday? And then I received your email. Oh,
yep. Excellent. Oh, there you go. Excellent. I'm glad. Yep.
Okay. So thank you very much, Dave.
Cool. No worries. Thanks, mate.
Okay.
Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's everything for today's video. I would like to say thank you so much, Dave, for finding time and helping me to create this video. I would like to thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or if you would like to, provide some feedback, leave comments. Otherwise, if you like this video, don't forget press like button. If you would like to see my future videos, don't forget to subscribe. I would like to thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye.